I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. Hey, my name is Tristan, and I'm in second grade, and I asked my teacher to show me an experiment where water curves. She couldn't do it because it doesn't curve. The water always finds a water.
What'd your teacher do?
She just didn't talk to me anymore. All she did was walk away. And I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. She couldn't do it. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. Because it doesn't curve, the water always finds its level.
What'd your teacher do?
She just didn't talk to me anymore. All she did was walk away. And I was like, what is this about? What?
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. She couldn't do it.
Up for sound bites. This is awesome.
All right. Excuse me. Thank you. Welcome back to Anti-Religious Scripture Study. with Karen B and Just Jack. I hope my sound is okay because I'm like in the middle of changing my sound setup and I have to use a microphone that is not that one.
All right. I mean, it sounds fine for me, but we
Okay.
thought that last week, and then we found out that we didn't hear you for a while. So
Yeah, so actually I think sounds okay. It should be fine.
all right, good deal.
It just sounds
All
a
right.
little funny, I think, to me, but to everybody else, I think it should be okay.
And you didn't send me the link to the chat, so hey, everybody in chat, if I don't see you, it's fine.
Oh,
I know you're there.
Here, I'll send it to you right now.
How dare you, Karen? You're slacking.
I know.
Actually, I was slacking today. I was, late into the sixth Lila and early into the Shabbat, trying to get my translation finished because for those of you who know, my truck was in the shop for a very, very long time, and I finally got it out. Praise Yah. Woohoo! I got my car back, my truck back.
Oh, right on. That's good.
Yeah. And I will be driving my truck to, Columbia, to the flea market to hang out with that flat fellow. And we're going to be flat smacking out there at the flea market, which is always fun. I always love it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep, I'll be doing that tomorrow. And popping out chat now. Closing out the internet. Saying what I'm doing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, Doc Michael, Daryl Davis, Mother Dragon. Let's see who else. Golden Ladle, Brian Parker. Hey, Tactical Sovereignty. I've done a couple of little streams with him before. He's a cool guy. Jose Nunes, Melanie Moran, Mojo Shop. Let's see, did I miss anybody? Oh, Zulu, hey Zulu, and Awesome Austin. Good to see you guys. Alrighty. So, I'll just read my disclaimer just to get it up out of the way, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
That works for you? Okay. That was a little heavy. That last was hot. Just letting you know.
Was it?
All right.
Okay.
Just Jack's disclaimer. To the religious, if you believe it's wrong to study scripture outside of your religion or denomination, if you believe your religious leaders or church fathers are incapable of having inherited anti-scriptural traditions of men, if you've already made up your mind about scripture, including the scripture shouldn't be studied at all, then this stream is not for you. To others, if you are open-minded to others' opinions, if you haven't made up your mind about scripture, if you've been turned off to religion, believe there's truth in scripture that may have been changed or hidden by religion, if you live according to scripture but like to dig in and discover more, then this stream is for you. We are looking at scripture in the original language using concordances or dictionaries for root words as well as context from a non-religion perspective, as well as life experience discussion. We are not here to argue with others about theology or doctrine by the traditions of men, including Catholicism, Christianity, or Judaism. We will be discussing the importance of origins and show how the religions contradict the scriptures. There you go. All right.
Awesome.
And how do I close the chat window without closing Skype? Okay. You're still there, yes?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so last week, as we typically do, we do like a little recap.
Mm-hmm.
And
we have they title it The Defiling of Dinah.
Ah, yes, the defiling of Dinah. Now, first of all, as soon as they title something,
Mm-hmm.
you already have a picture in your mind,
Right.
right? So before you even start reading the chapter, you think it's about a defiling of Dinah.
Right.
But when you read it, especially when you go back to the original language and decipher what it was translated from and then what it was translated to, you can actually see that there was a consensual arrangement between a man and a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And culturally, they did it wrong because the man should have approached the father and brothers before being with the woman.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's the only thing he did wrong culturally. It's not, even according to Torah, this is not means for death. Okay? In fact, there is a statement later in Torah that tells you that if you are with a girl, then you're not supposed to just send her away. She's supposed to be your wife, and then you're supposed to take care of the dowry, which is, you pay the father to take her as a wife.
Right.
So he was trying to do the right thing. He talked to his father and had the two fathers meet, and the two fathers were consensual about it. They thought it was all good, but the brothers were like, and these are the tribes of Israel, mind you, these are the good guys, allegedly. And the 12 tribes of Israel said, well, they weren't 12 tribes yet, sorry. But the brothers were like, well, if you guys want to be part of our family, you have to be circumcised. In other words, you have to do the covenant to connect with the Creator. And so the guy was like, all right, like, this is a good deal. Like, they're a wealthy nation, a wealthy group of people, and it would be beneficial for us to join. We can see that they're favored and by the deity, and we want to get involved. So not only does he circumcise himself, but he gets the whole tribe to circumcise themselves. And while they were healing, while they were in pain, the tribes of Israel went in, the sons of Israel went in, and they killed the whole lot of them. And it was justified in their own mind because, as far as they were concerned, he made her a whore by not approaching them to take their sister as a wife. Now, I think there was already a bias to where even if they had went to the brothers, they would have denied him to begin with. Like, they already don't want to associate with the nations. Now, it does say in the scriptures that you're not supposed to involve yourself with other nations if they deny connecting with the Creator. In other words, if they're all about idolatry and child sacrifices and rape orgies and all that nasty stuff that they typically do, don't connect with those people. But here, these people were willing to compromise and walk into the connection with the Creator. And I believe that the sons of Israel, the sons of Jacob, did something very wrong here. I think they were very wicked in their decision. Mm-hmm. And some people are in a mindset that if a people are chosen out by Yah, then everything they do is righteous. That's not true. I mean, I connect myself to the Creator, but I make mistakes from time to time. There's a difference between, being involved in the moment and making a mistake and purposely thinking about something and purposely doing something evil. I mean, they obviously premeditated the whole experience. So that's, as far as the Torah is concerned, that's an unforgivable sin. To premeditate a sin. To know what you're doing is wrong and you do it anyway. So, anyway, we're in chapter 35 now, but that is that's the recap of last week.
Right.
Any comments on last week?
From me?
Yeah.
No, I pretty much, I'm in agreement. I don't think that they should have killed them, and not just them, they killed a bunch of people.
Yeah, they killed a whole lot of them.
Yeah, they slaughtered a town. It's pretty extreme, if you ask me.
Yeah, and this town is the town later called Shechem, which is a very prominent city that is throughout the scriptures. And Shechem was the dude who was in love with Dinah. Mm-hmm. And so they still kept the name of the city to remember Shechem, which I find interesting. All right, so we're in chapter 35, and God blesses and renames Jacob. Okay, well, can you scroll down and see if there's another title head? The death of Rachel and Isaac. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so those are the two titles. All right, so there's a lot more going on than these two titles. And as far as, God blesses and renames Jacob, I mean, there's so many things wrong with that, I can't even begin.
First of all, God.
Let's just say the translation of the title head is horrible, just to begin with. And this context is not just about the blessing and renaming. It's about Jacob, and by extension Israel, becoming a nation that is set apart from all the other nations. They're going to do stuff different. Okay, that's the important thing here. But you can go ahead and start reading whenever you're ready.
All right. All right. And Elohim said to Yaakov, "Arise, go up to Beit El, and dwell there, and make a slaughter place there to El, who appeared to you when you fled from the face of Esau, your brother."
Right. Now this is House of El, or House of El. That, this is where he had the vision of the messengers going to and from the earthly and spiritual realm. We'll leave it like that. And he now said this is the House of El, Beit El.
Okay. And Jacob said to his household and to all who were with him, "Put away the foreign mighty ones that are among you, and cleanse yourselves and change your arguments."
Your what?
Or change your garments.
There you go.
I'm like, I thought
that's okay. Could have happened to anybody. Yeah, so here he's saying we need to get rid of the old style of doing things, get rid of the old deities, right? And cleanse yourself and change your garments. So it's a renewing. It's for lack of definition and to make people spiral, they're being born again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They're starting over from scratch. And this is a huge deal, because I thought that before rereading this, I thought that the idol thing had already been dealt with, because if you remember, Jacob's wife Rachel,
Mm-hmm.
who was the beloved of Jacob but the worst of the two wives,
Mm-hmm.
was hiding idols from her father,
Right.
And I thought, well, at that point he must have gotten rid of idolatry altogether, right? No, here we are, after running into his brother and reestablishing himself back in the land, he's like, we need to stop this idolatry stuff. And if you remember, that's why Abraham was called out, because he, unlike the rest of the nations and everything else, decided, they all knew of the Creator Yehovah and they had idols. But Abraham decided, no, only the Creator is worthy of, interacting with me. So that's what made a difference for him. And now Yaakov is making basically the same statement.
Mm-hmm. All right. "And let us arise and go up to Beit El, and let me make there a slaughter place to El, who answered me in the day of my distress, and has been with me in the way which I have gone." So they gave Jacob all the foreign mighty ones which were in their hands, and all their earrings which were in their ears, and Jacob hid them under the terebinth tree which was near Shechem.
Okay, so a few issues here. Like I said, they decided to stick this terebinth tree in there. They actually have a monument in Israel where it's this really old terebinth tree, and they say this is Abraham's terebinth tree. But it's not specific that there's this terebinth tree. Okay, it's just a strong below a strong tree. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so terebinth sometimes is translated as oak, sometimes translated as oak land. We talked about this a little bit, where it's like a field where there's oaks spread out.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so for them to say the terebinth tree, which is near Shechem, they're actually referring to this one that they already have in their head. That's a monument in Israel today. Also, it says the earrings in their ears, but I dare you to find ear there, because it's actually to that which is brought to your attention. So you can by extension say ears, because you're bringing things to attention by the ear. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But basically they had jewelry that was dedicated to their deity, right? So let's leave the earrings out of it for a second, because this is not just earrings. This is headdresses, this is bracelets, this is rings, whatever, of their deity. And today, there are people who wear the sign of their idol, whether they think so or not, whether they call it an idol or not. They wear their religious symbol on a necklace. This is that same deal. He's like, get rid of all that stuff. All that symbology of their deity worship needs to go bye-bye.
Okay. Right. And they departed, and the fear of Elohim was upon the cities that were all around them, and they did not pursue the sons of Jacob.
Yeah, everybody knew that they were favored in the land, and then when they heard what happened to that nation that got circumcised, it probably didn't help. So.
Right. And Jacob came to Luz, that is Beit El, which is in the land of Canaan, he and all the people who were with him. And he built there a slaughter place and called the place El Beit El, because there Elohim appeared to him when he fled from the face of his brother.
Right. So El, the house of El, right? Remember, slaughter place is just an altar.
Just an altar.
It literally could be a pile of rocks.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so it's just an altar.
Because sometimes it's just a monument.
Right.
Rather than, sometimes they do sacrifice things on them. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But it can just be a monument, a pile of rocks.
And Deborah, Rivka's nurse, died. And she was buried below Beit El under the terebinth tree. So the name of it was called Alon Bachut.
Yep. Okay, so here we go again. Which tree? The terebinth tree. Right? So everything's under the terebinth tree. Everything. Like this one tree has a bunch of crap underneath it, right?
It's got jewelry and dead people.
And idols and dead people. Yeah, it's just, how is this tree still standing? I'm just saying, like when you keep digging up around the roots, right? You dig underneath it, you bury some stuff. You dig underneath it again, you bury some more stuff. And yet this tree is still standing in Israel today. I can't imagine why they need to continue this rhetoric, right? It could just be she was buried under the oaklands or buried under an oak. It doesn't say. I think it's just the oakland, right? It's the land near Shechem.
Okay.
All right.
And Elohim appeared to Yaakov again when he came from Padan Aram and blessed him.
Okay.
And Elohim said to him, "Your name is Yaakov, but your name is no longer called Yaakov, but Israel is your name." So he called his name Israel. Yisrael.
Yeah. So it says your name is Yaakov, but your name is no longer called Yaakov because Yisrael is your name. So he called his name Yisrael. Now he already made this establishment back when he wrestled with a man that he referred to as El. Right? So here he's saying, okay, no more of the Yaakov. That's it. You're Yisrael from now on. Don't use that term Yaakov anymore. Like you need to completely put that behind you. The old Yaakov is dead. Now Yisrael lives.
Okay.
And remember, it was later anglicized to Israel. But it's actually Yisrael.
Yisrael, okay.
Yeah. But you say it fast, Yisrael.
Yeah.
All right.
And Elohim said to him, "I am El Shaddai. Be fruitful and increase. A nation and a company of nations shall be from you, and sovereigns come from your body."
All right. I think that's self-explanatory, but El Shaddai, I am the strong lead, conqueror, destroyer. You're going to be fruitful. You're going to become a nation, and then a company of nations from you, right? So this becomes the 12 tribes, that becomes the 12 nations, etc., etc.
"And the land which I gave Abraham and Yitzhak I give to you, and to your seed after you I give this land."
Okay.
And Elohim went up from him in the place where he had spoken with him. And Yaakov set up a standing column in the place where he had spoken with him, a monument of stone, and he poured a drink offering on it, and he poured oil on it.
Right. So this is pretty interesting. So drink offering and poured are the same definition. That which is poured out, like in a casting of a imagery.
Mm-hmm.
So he poured the pouring. He poured the pouring and he poured oil on it. So it's pretty interesting when you look at it in Hebrew. So.
And Yaakov called the name of the place where Elohim spoke with him Beit El.
Yes, I think we've established that for 4 times now. It's stuff like that where, you know, they say, when I say they say, like people who study scripture and stuff, they pretty much agree. If there's something that's repeated on multiple occasions, it's because they're trying to get a very important thing across. Like, this place should never be called anything except for Beit El, because this is where El showed up and talked with Yaakov, now Yisrael.
Okay. Then they set out from Beit El, and it came to be, when there was but a little distance to go to Ephrath, that Rachel began to give birth, and had a difficulty giving birth.
Now, in the definition, I show you that Ephrat later gets called Beit Lechem. Now, Beit Lechem may not be familiar to you, but it's later called Bethlehem.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this is the location where this dude in the 1st century named Yeshua was born. So they're going to Ephrat, which is going to be called the house of sustenance, or the house of bread.
Okay.
So yeah, she has pressure and hardship in giving birth. Yep.
And it came to be, as she was having great difficulty giving birth, that the midwife said to her, "Do not fear, for it is another son for you."
Okay.
And it came to be, as her life was going out, for she died, that she called his name Ben-Oni, but his father called him Binyamin.
Okay, so it came to be that her life was purposed out, her life source. This is not just life of Chai. This is life source. This is her true self, her true being, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people would say your soul or your spirit, right? And as she was dying, she called him Ben-Oni, which is the son of vigorous emptiness. In other words, she was upset. She's not happy about this. You know, she's dying in childbirth. By the way, this is the favor wife of Yaakov, and also the least well behaved out of the 2 wives. And so names are very important, you know, in that culture. Like, the name actually represents who you will be. And so he's like, well, I'm not going to call him the son of vigorous emptiness. So he called him the son of the strong hand. Now, later on, people translated it as right hand. But it's not always the right hand. It's just the hand that's strong.
Right.
Okay. So it's actually the same root for hand, and the same root for the light time, the day. The yom and yam. So it's the same root from that as well. So that shows you it's about the strength. So the strong hand.
All right. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrat, that is Beit Lechem.
See, now they're referring back. Oh, this is that place that we now call Beit Lechem, or Beit Lechem, like you said. Yours is probably better. I'm just used to saying it fast, so Beit Lechem. Okay. So, so that she was buried on the way to Beit Lechem.
And Yaakov set a standing column on her burial place, which is the monument of Rachel's burial place to this day.
And of course, there's places in Israel that they claim is that monument.
More than one?
I don't. Well, there's there's arguments between two camps, but we won't get into that.
Oh gosh.
There's always arguments.
Of course.
Like, this religion belongs to us, therefore what we claim to be true is the truth, that type of deal. So.
Right. And Yisrael set out and pitched his tent beyond the tower of Adair. Adair.
You're right, Adair.
And it came to be when Yisrael...
Hold on one second. It's Migdal Adair. So Migdal is the tower, or the strong tower.
Okay.
Magnified. And this is important because Migdal, like Migdal Oz, is strong tower. So Migdal is, if you go to Israel and you see Migdal anything, then you know it's the tower of.
Mm-hmm.
Not just, this is something that comes up a lot. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
It's a strong location.
Okay. I don't recall that coming up yet before.
No,
is new,
it will though.
Okay.
Yeah, so Migdal is important. So this is Migdal of Adair.
Okay.
So.
And it came to be when Yisrael dwelt in that land that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Yisrael heard about it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12.
Okay, I find this very interesting. So they just kind of drop this off, and they just move on. Reuben laid with Bilhah, his father's concubine.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, this is serious business, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is his father's lady that he's sleeping with. And Yisrael heard about it. Okay. Now the sons of Yaakov were 12. The end.
Like, that's it. Was he not upset? He didn't care?
It doesn't say anything about it there, but it's like, okay, why is this like, number one, why is it dropped in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And number two, why is there no response? What's the cause and effect of this happenstance? But we don't have any reference.
Weird.
Now, I could go all weird and spiritual on it and give you all sorts of deep meanings and stuff like this, but I'm just saying, they kind of just dropped that in on you, just so you know that happened.
Yeah. Huh.
I think it's just another point of like, not all these guys were doing 100% good stuff.
Well, and is that still considered a son of Yaakov? I mean, he's not the one who planted that seed. Somebody else did. I mean, it's his son, but still. I don't know.
This is like, okay, so this is a dude sleeping with his stepmom, basically.
Yeah.
Right? That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
But, later on we'll see scriptures written down that, a son is not to lay with his father's wife. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's specifically because it happened. So now we have to make a rule about it.
Right. Like, that's probably wasn't a good thing.
Right.
The sons of Leah.
Now this is the accumulation of the 12 sons. So now this is fully the 12 tribes, right? We had Yosef, which is the firstborn of Rachel, whom Yaakov loved, and Benjamin is the second, and then she died with Benjamin.
Right. Okay. And the sons of Leah were Reuben, Yaakov's firstborn, and Shimon and Levi,
Yep.
and Yehuda, and Yissaschar, and Zebulun.
Yep.
Zebulun.
Yep. And
those names are hard.
I'm telling you, like, a lot of people get Yissachar wrong. It's Yissaschar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I said, Yissaschar. Didn't I say that?
Yeah, you said it right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's default, like people say Yissachar because they're used to hearing it anglicized.
And the sons of Rachel were Yosef and Binyamin.
Yep.
The sons of Bilhah, Rachel's female servant, were Dan and Naphtali.
Who his firstborn slept with.
Who his firstborn slept with?
Yeah, the sons of Bilhah. Bilhah is who he slept with.
Oh, that's right, yeah. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's female servant, were Gad and Asher.
Not Gad.
God.
God.
God and Asher.
That's right.
These were the sons of Yaakov who were born to him in Padan Aram.
And Padam Aram, we've mentioned it a couple times here, but it's the exalted redeemed. Bought back. Paid for. Redeemed. Okay.
And Yaakov came to his father Yitzhak at Mamre, or Kirath Arba, that is Hebron, where Avraham and Yitzhak had dwelt.
Yep.
And the days of Yitzhak were 180 years.
How old are people allowed to live according to some religious circles? Only 120.
That's right.
He lived to be 180.
Right. So Yitzhak breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people, aged and satisfied of days, and his sons Esav and Yaakov buried him.
Okay, so yeah. Oh my gosh, there's so many different translation issues in this one verse. Okay, so Yitzhak had gave his last breath. I agree with that. That's good. But this is the part here. So he was a bearded elder. So he grew to stature and age and strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he oathed the days. So it's not just satisfied. So that which he was promised, right? He was oathed a large number of days and he got it, right? Now this is that word 7, oath, right? I mean, you could say he lived for 7 days, but obviously that's not it. So 7 is oath in this instance.
Mm-hmm.
So he lived an oath of days, and then he was buried by his sons. So, and again, we see what happened to Abraham is now happening to Yisrael, where his fighting sons come together to bury their father. That's a typical scenario as well, because that's, you know, even if you're like at war with one another, you still come together to bury your father.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna jump over to Chatsky. All right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Talking about barefootedness. Oh, Ceiling Fan Man. Hey, man. You should email me, justjackflatearth@gmail.com. We got to finish that conversation that we did in the middle of the night for several hours in the middle of the field near the ditch drain at Flattoberfest. That was an amazing conversation. Doc Michael, it's a Yiddish tree. That's funny. All right. All right, so it looks like everybody's having their own side conversation here. It's all good.
Did
All
you
right.
see where Caleb says something about it shows the reason of why Reuben is not one of the 12 tribes?
It also says that Dan's not one of the 12 tribes. So, I mean, it becomes complicated when you look at how the 12 tribes are numbered, especially when it splits up Yosef into Ephraim and Manasseh. So, I think there's no great distinction in saying which tribe is more worthy or less worthy, because there were multiple incidences where Yehuda, had done some pretty terrible things too, but yet he became a great tribe unto himself when it broke off from the northern and southern nations. So it's not based on the individual and carried on, you know, the sins of the father going on to the sons, because even in the prophets it says that will not be done. The sins of the father will not be carried on to the children, and vice versa. So there is, you know, teachings that have been going on, including, you know, stuff that I taught and learned, you know, being a Christian and studying to be a pastor, that, you know, this thing called generational curses. But the fact of the matter is like every individual has their free will right to deny the sins of their father, so to speak, to move on and become their own person of of valor, of righteousness. So.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, I see that also, Caleb. He actually mentioned Ephraim and Manasseh. Okay. See, yeah, he knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's problematic to say which is the better tribe, because as individuals they did horrible things. Reuben was the one who planned to send Joseph. We're jumping ahead in the story. It's gonna happen soon. But you know, there's different things by different tribes that do stupid stuff. In fact, Ephraim became an enemy to Israel for a while, to where it was either Ephraim or Manasseh. I could be wrong about Ephraim, but I think it's Ephraim, where they would have to cross this road, and if they spoke with the wrong accent, with the wrong dialogue, they went to war. They would fight. Like, oh, you're of the tribe across the river, so now we need to like fight, even though they're of the same family. So it gets pretty interesting as it goes on, because people are people. I mean, let's be real here. That's what I was saying. Like, you know, these quote unquote righteous of Yah are still human beings that can make very stupid mistakes. And some people that are very religious about it are like, you know, that's blasphemy to speak evil against the patriarchs of the faith or whatever. But I see the Torah and the telling of these occurrences so that we can realize there's a cause and effect relationship with every action, right? It's you know, if you want to call it, I forget what they call it now. Oh my gosh. If you do good stuff happens to you. If you do bad stuff happens to you.
That's
What do they
the law
usually
of
call
attraction.
it? Karma.
Karma and dharma.
Yeah. Yeah, karma and dharma. Exactly. So, I mean, that's, you know, that's prevalent throughout the scriptures. You know, there's a cause and effect relationship, and it may not be an instantaneous one, but you can see like the origin of where they began to separate themselves as a connection to Yah. So, all right.
All right. I was just looking
Did you
ahead a little bit.
Did you want to talk about that other stuff, or?
Which other stuff? The number of the beast.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to say that I agree with Karen's statement that the mark of the beast is a man-made creation. Not that the book of the Revelation is a man-made creation, but just that it was a heads up that it will be a man-made creation.
It was just something,
right?
Like I said, I saw a lot of people posting about that new statue that has been put on the in front of the UN. That's of the beast, like the lion head and the dragon wings or whatever, and everything that's got on it. And then, so I went to go read the description of the beast, and at the very last part, well, not the very last part, but after it describes that beast, it says, "He who brings," wait, that's not the one, is it? No, that's who should be killed with the sword shall die by the sword. No, I think it goes back to the last one. Oh, it is the last verse, 13:18. Here is the wisdom. He who has understanding, let him calculate the number of the beast, for it is a number of man, and his number is 666. I mean, to me, I read that and I was like, holy shit, the beast is man or man-made, right? That's basically what it's telling me. That's what I get from that.
What day of creation was man created on? The sixth day.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Because the number of man is 6. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you know, leaving the number out of it, I mean, you can clearly see that there is a battle that goes between the nations of the earth against the Creator. Okay, nations, plural. Okay, I just want to point that out. I don't like getting in Revelation because, like I said, there's so many different pastors out there with all these different understandings of it, but it clearly states that it's the nations, plural, that stand against the Creator. It's not just one people, it's not just one person, it's nations. Because this man-made structure, this man-made system, is all to go against the creator, including the heliocentric model.
Mm-hmm.
It's there to materialize, right, to make it a materialistic world that happened out of average chance mutations over billions of years, and man's invention of mathematics creates their own reality. So they believe that they can exist outside of existence, which is the name of the creator, existence. So that's why they push the what do you call it? I mentioned it earlier. Oh my gosh, I forget the term, but basically where they want technology and man to be one, right?
Mm-hmm.
To replace
transhumanism.
Transhumanism, thank you very much. So transhumanism, AI, downloading consciousness, all these things, they're trying to create creation outside of the creator. That's their whole deal. That's their whole shtick. They want to be deity above the creator.
Right.
Even if it means destroying the creation to create a new creation. That's their whole deal, right? Order out of chaos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah. What is Mephibosheth? Where's that at? I don't know what you're asking there.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Anyway,
you need to be more specific.
Yeah. So, yeah, transhumanism. Yeah, it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a problem for me, like, recently, because everybody wants me to dig into Revelation because, like, they're seeing it being played out. Some people are asking, is it like a playbook for them? Did they write it so that they could do it later, like kind of like 1984 as a reference?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it just they're fulfilling the prophecy? Or is it both? Was there a prophecy and then they're going by it because they know that's how they get to high power or whatever else? And the fact of the matter is for me, it doesn't even matter. Like, if all that stuff plays out exactly the way it's meant to in the book of the Revelation, it doesn't change who I am or how I live. Because if you're joined to the Creator, if you do your due diligence to try to connect with the Creator, you know, then you don't have to worry about these types of things. It doesn't matter. You know, I'm definitely not the person that says that you should just lay down and die and let it happen. Yah forbid. You should fight for righteousness until your dying breath.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want it to be to the point where they say, you know, you either join with us or die. And I'm like, freaking kill me. You know, I want to piss them off. You know, I want to tell them that Yehovah is greater than them, than they'll ever be. They cannot touch the creator of the universe. You know, those types of things, just to get them totally pissed off so that they kill me out of anger. What I want, you know, to my dying breath.
Yeah. That's right. So this is what made me think about that.
Okay, so Caleb was talking about the word that if they had the wrong accent, that they would know if they were of the other tribe. Yeah, it's the difference between shin and sin, and thet and tet. Right? These are both the same letter, but pronunciated in different ways in different locations. So there you go. All right.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool.
So, yeah, off with his head, exactly. That's what I want them to say. But, yeah, this is what you don't have to worry about, folks. Like, regardless of how they change the world, they cannot change your spirit. They cannot change your mind. They can try. They've been trying for years, decades. You know, but we broke that, you know, even by questioning the shape of the earth, we're breaking that brain control. We're breaking that mind control to say, no, I'm a free man with my free thoughts and I can think, you know, without being controlled. And the same thing is with connecting to the Creator. They can make it to where it becomes harder to do if you submit to their control. Right. So, like, some people who did something last year, an experimental thing last year, we'll put it like that. There are people who have done the experimental thing last year that says they feel complete disconnect from spirituality because you submitted to that. You said, I don't care what this is that you're putting in my body, go ahead and put it there.
Yeah.
So you're giving up your power, period.
You are. You know what's crazy too, Jack, is I just watched, there's some videos going around where it looks like a man and he's talking to this woman. It's like he's recording a session with her and she's like acting like she's possessed. It's like it's supposed to be like him, like he's talking to a demon, and she's there and she's like, they're working with us. They know, and he's like asking him what's in the vaccine. Excuse me. Probably shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, and a lot of that, okay, this is Jack's thoughts, right? This is just Jack, okay?
Gotta watch it because I'm still on YouTube and I want these videos to stay on YouTube.
We're trying to be careful about how we word things, but basically, I believe DNA is our frequency, okay? It's not a double helix protein, blah, 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 blah. I think it's our actual electric signature, if you will, our frequency, whatever. And it can be programmed with certain experiments to give you an alternative programming, which is also an antenna to be downloaded certain frequencies that make you respond to things in a certain way. Now, this can happen without those injections. If you open yourself to that thing that they're sending out into the ether, if you will, into the Shemayim, if you accept those things, you can be a conduit without an injection. And I know because I've experienced it. I used to be on the wrong side of this thing, guys. So
I agree with that 100%.
So that's why I said before, like if you go down the rabbit hole by natural or other means to go down that beyond subconscious rabbit hole, you have to be very careful because then you're opening yourself up to any kind of information download. It can be good, don't get me wrong, but it can be bad. Like I think that the deception of I don't want to get into it too much here. Oh my gosh. Let's just say that some people have the same experiences on the same natural resources, and it's because they're being downloaded the same information, but it's actually the false information. It's the false deities of controlling this realm.
Yeah.
And why do, they call them things like robots, and they call them things like machines, and that's what they want you to think about. They want you to think about the materialistic control of this realm. You're just a cog in the machine, is what they say. Stuff like that. I never understood when I was a child what it meant, Rage Against the Machine, right? I heard of this band when I was younger, never understood what it meant, but later on, I realized that was transhumanism. Like, the whole idea is to make you think that you're part of a mechanical setup. You're a machine, you know?
And also Rage Against the Machine now is no longer raging against the machine. They are part of the machine.
Correct. And that's what happens, right? If you want to be rich, famous, powerful, et cetera, you have to join with the machine. And when I was going through the darkness, I saw it as, I called it the system, right? You have to be part of the system. And that's why this whole system is the mark. It's the control mechanism. And of course, we're going to go into scripture off, we're not in Genesis 35 anymore, okay? But it says that the mark of the hand and the frontlets between the eyes, as far as the righteous are, is the Sabbath and the commands, okay? So if they start commanding that it's against the law to keep the Sabbath, that's why. Because that is actually a mark on the hand and the forehead. It's the work of your hand and the thought of your mind. That's what the mark on the hand and the forehead is. Okay. Now, if you think that this is impossible for them to do, I don't know if you've ever seen the screenshot of the news program that showed a list of what it means to be a domestic threat.
Oh yeah, I
have the
that.
Words to trigger it.
I have
but
that.
one of them is observant of religious holidays is in the list.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Nobody has a problem with Christmas, Easter, Halloween, President's Day, Flag Day, whatever.
Right.
They have no problem with those. So what are they talking about? Okay, that's what I'm saying. I'll leave it at that. You know, but they say that shows you a domestic possibility of threat is by those who observe these things. I'm just saying though.
Yeah.
Guys, get grounded on the Sabbath. You know, take it easy. You know,
Yeah.
like chill out for one day a week and see if it doesn't connect you with the Creator more. I'm telling you, especially if you get onto nature while you're doing it. You know, it's good stuff.
It does help to take a regular day off every week. It is needed.
And Yah says the seventh day is his day. So I'm just saying though.
And the seventh day would be today.
Yes, Shabbat. Yep. So, you know, if y'all ain't there yet, that's fine. Just try it out. Test it out for yourself. Start taking a day off, and like literally day off. That means no going out shopping, no going out to eat, no mowing the lawn, no cleaning the house, no, you know, none of that. Just put it all away for a day. Just connect between you and the Creator. Do self-inspection if you need to. You know, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right. I guess that's it for today's anti-religious scripture study. Thank you all for being here with Jack and I. We really appreciate it.
And the earth is still flat.
And the earth is still flat. And we hope that you have a wonderful strength. I don't know if you heard that, Jack, from one of my streams, that the guys, this couple I know, Hank and Mari, who do a lot of astrology charts, they started calling the weeks strengths instead of weeks, because week, the whole phonetic thing about week, you know, being, and then
WEAK. Yes.
Yeah, and then at the end of the week, you're, instead of being weakened, you be strengthened.
You could also say, yeah, that's awesome. You can also say the oaths, right? These are our oaths. These are our promises. This another 7 oath, right? So yeah, and I like that, strengthened on the end of the
strength.
Yeah, I love that. It's great.
Me too. I like that a lot.
No, I do believe they do that. You know, phonetically, they mess with us a lot. So.
Well, I started to think that even though I used to think that the spelling.
That's why I don't say morning. I say I'll see you in the light.
Right.
I never say morning.
I used to think, well, the spelling, it has a different spelling, so it must mean something different. But if you think about the universe in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, then even phonetically, if I say weak, it doesn't matter if it's spelled E-E or E-K. It is still that same frequency, that same vibration, that same signature, whatever it is, right?
Right.
So to me, I feel like the spelling doesn't matter anymore. It is way more about the phonetics of it.
Absolutely.
And the words spoken from your mouth, whatever that sound is that comes out of your mouth, that's the end. That's the most important part.
That's the same thing as people wanting to grab so hard onto the gematria, right?
Yeah.
Like there is definitely things there in the gematria, but if you're focusing solely on these numbers, these symbols, you're not focusing on the phonetic of it all, right? The actual frequency of it all. So, yeah. Shabbat Shalom, Frank Logic. I saw that. Doc Michael would like a phone number to call in and complain. So, I think he's full of it though, because Doc Michael's got a good head on his shoulders. I know he knows what's up.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, thanks again for everybody being here. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, y'all.
Take it easy. Have a great day, and see you all next Sabbath.
Sure.
All right.